Hello guys, it's Andrew. I'm just gonna be making a different type of video today. It's gonna be about iCarly, like you, like you read the title, of course. But anyways, the reason why I'm talking about this is because I've just been having iCarly on my mind for a while, and I really just want to make a video talking about it. And what better way to start than to compare two of the side villains and see which one was written better. So let's start off with Chuck. Chuck was a really annoying kid who just didn't like Spencer for no good reason and just kept breaking the rules and would never listen to him. So in every single episode, like in his introduction, Spencer had to replace Lubert as the doorman? The doorman, or I forgot what his job was, the doorman. And when he's doing that, Chuck is just messing around with a tennis ball and a racket, which clearly is just not a good idea, and is really against the rules of pretty much any apartment as it causes noise and stuff. So Spencer tells him to stop doing that, but he never listens. In the end, Spencer got him in trouble with his father, so Chuck ended up becoming enemies with Spencer ever since. And in every single episode since, he's caused mayhem and torture for Spencer, even though as revenge for getting him in trouble with his father, even though it's Chuck's fault that all this happened to begin with. And in every single episode, Chuck always got what he deserved. And then in his final episode from season 5, when Spencer ended up getting jumped and naked and put into a bush with a beehive in it because of Chuck, he couldn't take it anymore and showed no mercy and got his dad to take Chuck to military school. Chuck's dad, not Spencer's dad. And that's the end. We never see Chuck again. And all I can say is that is how you write a character well. Because Chuck was written to be a jerk and was not just, and none of his actions were justified. And he was just a complete evil little kid who just got what he deserved. And in every single episode, he did. And then for this final big punishment for never leaving Spencer alone for like 5 seasons of iCarly. I don't remember what season his introduction was from. But from his introduction to the final season. Anyways, he had what was coming to him. Now let's see how they wrote Neville. Let's see if they ended up managing to write him well. Okay, so his introduction episode showcases him as just a little kid that doesn't really know anything. He's always shown to just be nice and innocent, right? He likes Carly because he's his internet hero. And he invites her over for a little time at his house with his mother. And he sets up all this fancy food for her, right? And he comes in for a kiss. Which, obviously, it's very weird, but as a little kid, everyone's like that. Everyone has that one girl that they see on TV or on the internet that they really like, and they just really want to, give them a little kiss, right? Every little kid goes through that, right? So, what does Carly do after this? After his attempt to kissing her? She throws the fancy food at his head, or face, or whatever, and she just yells at him and runs off. Instead of doing the right thing and teaching him that that's wrong, and that he shouldn't do that, she attacks a little boy for just having natural little boy instincts and doesn't explain to him that what he did was wrong. Instead, just yells at him and does it and just treats him so poorly. And then she wonders why he became a villain. Later on that same episode, he's being all mean to Carly for what she did, and I totally understand that. And then, you know what Carly does? Instead of apologizing for what she did and showing sympathy for Neville, she snitches on him with his mother. Why, Miranda? Why, Miranda Cosgrove? What? Are you happy? Are you happy that you got to play this character? And I bet when you were on screen doing all that on set and stuff, you were probably feeling horrible about yourself. And don't be. It's the writer's fault that you had to do that. The worst part was, like, with Chuck, it's different, because with Chuck, he was shown to be just a little demon, okay? A little demon, for no good reason. So whenever bad things happened to him, it made sense. It was justified, and what he was doing was also kind of funny, too. While for Neville, nothing is funny, he doesn't deserve it, and he's never showed any sympathy from the iCarly crew, and they wonder why he keeps attacking them. And every single episode, he literally explains why he's doing all this, and they never show him any type of sympathy or anything. They never try to explain to him anything was wrong. They never tried doing anything to help him at all. Never did anything that a good person would do to treat Neville. And then they just keep attacking him back for him attacking them. And it's just so upsetting because he's just a misunderstood little guy throughout the entire show, and the iCarly crew never help him at all. Except for one episode. In the episode I Hate Neville, I think that's what it's called, Neville ends up getting in trouble with everyone online after a video of him yelling at a little girl ended up going viral. Now here, I really just feel bad for Neville, because even though he shouldn't have done that, it still makes you feel bad that he's gone downhill. And I bet if the iCarly crew wasn't being mean to him in all those other episodes, he probably would have had a better show of heart for the little girl. However, they ended up helping him, the iCarly crew, by the way, they ended up helping him by having him go onto the show with the little girl, and then they just talked everything through, and he apologized. Finally, they did something good with the guy. And then he tells Freddy that the rivalry is now over, because, of course it'd be, because the whole time he just wanted sympathy from them. Then some guy in a wheelchair who clearly can see and doesn't have any problems of seeing and has clearly been in a wheelchair for a long time, completely just comes out of nowhere and runs over his foot. And then everyone records Neville yelling at the guy in the wheelchair. Like, the thing is, with the little girl, they wrote it properly, because with the little girl, she clearly couldn't see Neville, as she's too short to see the top of the shopping cart. Like she's just a little kid. And so Neville yelling at her was not justified. So everything that happened to him there, and then he got his symphony, was done very properly. But the guy in the wheelchair can clearly see Neville coming, and can clearly see Neville's foot, but doesn't do anything to stop himself, and it makes you really want to get mad at the guy in the wheelchair, just like how Neville did. It was very poorly written, and very offensive to people who are in wheelchairs. Especially because one of my best friends is in a wheelchair himself. So and now Neville is back to being rivals against the iCarly crew, because Freddy, who was right there the whole time, didn't do anything to help Neville at all. He literally says in the Halloween episode, the next episode where he's fighting them, that the only reason he continued to attack them was because of Freddy not helping them with the wheelchair guy. And then they didn't show him sympathy yet again. Like, I know what you're thinking. They already did. They did it once. True, but It's just that guy in the wheelchair was not properly written. If that guy in the wheelchair actually had a reason to accidentally hit Neville's foot, and Neville was shown to be a bad guy, then maybe it would have been done right. But nope. They made it seem as if the guy in the wheelchair was really a bad guy. And that's very offensive. The guy's already gone through enough, and yet they made him seem like this bad guy to a point where Neville just yelling at him for hitting him in the foot. I find that very offensive, very frustrating, and the fact that everyone recorded him and got him in trouble like this again is just so, oh my god, it's frustrating. And then Neville never gets his symphony again, and he's attacking the iCarly crew, and it's never concluded as in the show is canceled before they can conclude him with anything. And they were this close to finishing up the rivalry as well, but they decided to do this thing with the wheelchair guy. Thanks a lot, writers. The craziest part is, even after all of this, in the Sam and Cat episode, #SuperPsycho, Neville appeared and was in this place where he got to be there because of a, like a chicken pox type of thing, but with a porcupine. And honestly, at first when I noticed he was in there, I was like, don't tell me he's in there because of the iCarly crew, or I would be pissed off. But he was in there for something totally unrelated, and I'm happy with that. And even after everything that the crew did to Neville, he still was willing to help Sam and Kat get Dice back from Nora. See, is that a bad guy? Is he really a bad guy, huh? No. The iCarly crew is always the bad guy towards him. The show's writers clearly portrayed Neville as a misunderstood guy who's just getting punishment from the people that we're supposed to see as the heroes, as a way of teaching us that if somebody is generally nice, and if someone's generally nice but makes one mistake, don't give them any empathy or sympathy, as they will never get better, even if they are really nice people. Which is a horrible lesson. That's a very horrible lesson. With Chuck, they did it right because that guy was really, really not good. He was really mean, really unjustified reasons to be mean, and deserved what was coming to him. But Neville was never once in his life did he deserve what he got in iCarly. Never. Neville. That's besides the point. He did not deserve that, any of that, and honestly, the fact that they ended that Sam and Cat episode with him being at a restaurant with Gibby, as he managed to escape, and they never got to conclude that, honestly, that pisses me off, but also makes me feel better, because it seems like his life was going to be back on track, and it's better to have it end like that than to have it end with him in a horrible position like they did with iCarly. May have been a cliffhanger, but hey, it's a better cliffhanger than what it would have been with iCarly if Sam and Cat didn't come to Nickelodeon. So anyways, Chuck is the winner and Neville is not. Okay, writers, if any of the people who are behind iCarly are watching this video, I'm just letting you know that Chuck, you got him right, and Neville, you got him so wrong. See ya.